Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the Bilderberg takeover of Europe, which, of course, not a lot of people are talking about. We're going to be talking about Turkey becoming the new rival and villain of the United States, as well as an important topic with YouTube now deleting more videos, more journalism, more on-the-ground reporting, specifically coming from our friend Josh Friedman, who's an independent journalist who was just in Turkey. We're going to be talking about Turkey. He was just also in Bilderberg, but specifically, Josh, holy cow, you just had a video deleted that you did in Europe from a right-wing demonstration. And what happened? Just give us the lowdown. What happened?
It's actually a pretty crazy story, and I had not one but two videos deleted from that same demonstration. So the story goes that it was 3 years ago. I was in Dresden, Germany, and there was a very large nationalist march, and these were far right guys. And I had a bit of an inside source, and it enabled me to embed inside the march. And all the Antifa were on the outside behind police lines, the media were behind police lines, and I was the only journalist on the inside embedded in the march. And during my report, I barely even provided any commentary. The majority of the video is just me walking, holding a camera, and showing what's happening. And the video was up for my small channel. It performed pretty well. It was up for a few years. A lot of people watched it, at least for my channel. And then a few weeks ago, I got an email from YouTube saying the video's been removed. And they gave me a couple possible reasons. They weren't very clear at all. One was inciting violence, and the other was promoting hatred against a protected group. And I found that to be extremely peculiar, I might say, given that I definitely wasn't promoting violence. And in my personal case, I happen to be Jewish. So if they're claiming it was anti-Semitic, then I don't think it was. And then lo and behold, this week, just 2 days ago, I get another email from YouTube saying your video has been deleted. And this video was merely the recording of a speech that was given at that rally.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to pretty much set a chilling effect. This is why they never really told you what's going on. And again, you were on the ground doing your reports like you always do. You do really good stuff. You were there with us this year at Bilderberg. You were at the year before, where literally police officers in an act of intimidation, stormed your hotel room in the middle of the night and literally put a gun to your head. Like, this is no exaggeration. I mean, I had similar events unfold to me in Chicago with Tim Pool and other people, but there's a clear war on journalism, and it's being raged by, of course, YouTube with their just insane actions. I mean, deleting your reporting on the ground. I mean, what the hell is next? And obviously, they want that chilling effect. They want you afraid to do your reports. And just because you covered a right-wing event doesn't make you automatically a right-wing person. And again, the whole left-right insanity is just so stupid. But going back to our topic of Bilderberg, I mean, this was a very, very interesting Bilderberg that me and you covered. And we're also finding out right now that the German lady that we confronted, specifically Max Bachmann confronted at the airport, her name was Ursula von der Leyen. Sorry, I'm really bad at my pronunciation. I'm learning that she was just elected to be the commission president. But importantly, she is not the only Bilderberg member that was just elected to the European Union. Specifically, 3 out of the 4 top positions have been occupied by Bilderberg. What's your assessment after Bilderberg about this kind of new power that they're getting all over Europe, Josh?
Well, actually goes beyond those 3. So I was just in Greece a week and a half ago covering the Greek parliamentary election, and that was won by the New Democracy Party, which was led by Kyriakos Mitsotakis, who is a 2-time Bilderberg participant, and actually
that's a mouthful, to say the least. It sounds like you're coughing. Say, what's his name again?
Kyriakos Mitsotakis.
Yeah, man, it
and
sounds like you're choking at dinner, man. But anyway, keep going.
believe it or not, the Mitsotakis family is a Bilderberg dynasty. So Kyriakos Mitsotakis is now Prime Minister of Greece. His father was also Prime Minister of Greece. His father also attended Bilderberg. And at least one, most likely two of his sisters also attended Bilderberg. So anyway, to get back to your question, since this year's Bilderberg, back at the end of May and beginning of June, we've had 3 of the 4 top EU jobs go to multi-time Bilderberg participants, and now we've had the Greek elections won by yet another multi-time Bilderberg participant. And von der Leyen, yeah, she's probably the key, because the European Commission president is basically, if not the most powerful person, it's pretty much the president of Europe. So that's a very key role that went to a multi-time Bilderberg participant.
Yeah, it's amazing to see all of them just right after Bilderberg, very conveniently, just kind of sprawl up in all these positions of power. And again, it's nothing new when you look at Bilderberg, which again, the media and the official statements from the Bilderberg committee is that no, these are just people coming together, playing golf, hanging out, sipping tea together. Nothing political, nothing's being done there at all. And I'm like, come on, there's absolute hooey. And it's important to note here that many prominent politicians like Clintons, like the Blairs, like the Browns, attended the Bilderberg meeting right before they became presidents, prime ministers, heads of the European Union, heads of state. And this is a very, very important aspect, including even the video that I did yesterday, specifically talking about 2 major kind of Bilderbergers at odds with each other, specifically with Peter Thiel going against Google. Peter Thiel ultimately had Google investigated by the CIA and FBI now. And obviously, as we know, Bilderberg is also have a big technological component. But what do you make? This is a kind of random question. I know we weren't supposed to talk about this, but I'm curious about your point of view here. What's your take on this kind of new push by Peter Thiel to go against Google, which is one of the major headliners at Bilderberg?
Well, this is pure speculation. But when you brought up the little rivalry, I guess you're implying, between Schmidt and Thiel, there's kind of a missing link in that, or another person, another one of these tech billionaires, who's Alex Karp. He's the CEO of Palantir. Well, Thiel co-founded Palantir and basically passed on the role of leading Palantir to Karp. And Palantir is one of these companies that's got a very sketchy relationship with the military, intelligence community, law enforcement, etc. So, I mean, I'm purely speculating, but when I saw those remarks, one thing that came to my mind is, I don't know, maybe does Palantir stand to benefit from this?
Yeah, it's a very important question to ask. Yeah, and obviously we talked to all of them when they were walking around Bilderberg just this year in Switzerland, which landed us in jail. You got a little bit more roughed up than me this year, surprisingly, which is good. I'm happy you're around, Joss. I'm happy we have more independent media. A lot of less attention and pressures on me. It's kind of more spread out, which I can't say I'm not happy about, but. Again, more journalists, the better. It's crazy what's happening with YouTube. But the last thing that I wanted to talk to you, because you just spent some time over in Turkey, there's a lot of shaking and baking, if you could say it that way, in Turkey with, of course, not only the political situation with President Erdogan, but specifically with more rising tensions between the United States and Turkey. Again, Turkey is a NATO ally, but Turkey is going its own way, and the distrust and the relationship between the United States and Turkey is moving apart, with the United States officially announcing that they were just kicked out of their coveted military-industrial complex F-35 fighter jet program. What do you make? You were just in Turkey, of these latest kind of finagling, fighting, bickering back and forth between 2 nations that used to agree with each other on a lot of the bigger geopolitical issues, but now are finding themselves at odds more than ever.
Well, speaking from the perspective of someone who's just in Turkey, someone who's really getting hit hard in this is the average Turk. The average Turkish citizen who's collecting a paycheck in lira every month, and the lira is just getting devalued like crazy. Go back 5 years and it was around 2 to the dollar. Now the lira is around 6 to the dollar. And with every clash, geopolitical clash between the US and Turkey, the lira tends to devalue more and more, which on the one hand, that creates a very messy situation for Erdogan, and that's arguably a reason why he and his party lost the Istanbul mayoral election, which I know it was just a mayoral election, but it was a very, very big election, and it was a sign that the tide has turned in Turkey and that Erdogan now faces a significant challenge to his power. So you've got the average Turkish citizen really hurting, and I mean, we'll see what becomes of that. But the clear interests are, I mean, there's a split. Under Erdogan, Turkey is shifting east, and it's arguably heading in a direction where it could really no longer remain in NATO. And yeah, of course, there are going to be clashes between the U.S., which is the cornerstone of NATO. Although I find it interesting that this is happening at a time, to bring it back to Bilderberg and von der Leyen, it's happening at a time in which von der Leyen and others are pushing for this European army. So there are really all kinds of geopolitical issues that NATO faces right now, not just from its enemies, but from within. So you've got Turkey under Erdogan shifting east and doing business with Russia, and now you've got Europeans calling for their own army.
Yeah, I mean, the shift is absolutely incredible. Where just a few years ago, we were like, oh my God, Turkey and Russia are about to have a fight together. They were literally shooting down each other's fighter jets, killing each other's soldiers, and now the complete geopolitical world stage is shifted all around, specifically with that major pivot from Turkey. But Josh, thanks so much for coming out. Thanks so much for being an independent journalist. Thanks so much for taking some of the brunt away from me. We got to get you a better light and camera. I was just commenting before we got on. It looks like I'm at Area 51. I got Josh. I'm just busting your balls, Josh. I appreciate everything you do. The link to your website will, of course, be in the description below, and, of course, your YouTube channel. You do a lot of on-the-ground reporting. That doesn't get a lot of coverage, but it should, since a lot of times you are there actually on the ground. And the fact that YouTube is punishing you and deleting your stuff is just absolutely insane. So I definitely recommend people go follow Josh in the link in the description below. Josh, thank you again for joining us here at WeAreChange, and thank you all you amazing human beings for joining us here at independent media and supporting us through wearechange.org/donate. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here, and that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more.